kind of quick comparison for you of the Pyranha Scorch medium to the Verus Flux medium large, because the Verus Flux comes in two sizes. It comes in what they're calling a small medium, and then it got a medium large, where the Scorch comes in three sizes: a small, medium, and large. And all of them are pretty true to size from my experience. Scorch has by far been one of my favorite kind of creek or river runners of all time. But now there's a new kind of player right here, and I kind of want to go over with you guys real quick and show you a quick side-by-side, because outside basically these deck stylings right here, these cutouts right here, they pretty much look the same, which, you know, that's almost identical in the stern, and then the bow has a kind of a triangle type pattern where that's like a thinner type pattern. You know, it's deck styling. Doesn't really mean anything. No, I don't think so. I think it just adds to kind of like the aesthetics of the boat. I can tell you guys, seeing them side by side right here, they are very different kayaks. And what I'm going to do, I'll start up here at the bow and kind of do a comparison and work my way back. But first, let me throw the specs up. I'm thinking the Scorch comes in at 8'10" and 82 gallons of volume, where the Verus Flux comes in at 8'8" and I think 88 gallons of volume. I just recently did a video on it. Width-wise, I'm thinking the Scorch is a little narrower. I think it's 25 and this is 26. And weight-wise, they're both around about 50 pounds, which is kind of normal for a creek boat with creek boat outfitting. And paddler recommendation is like 140 something to 200 on the Scorch medium, where this one, because it's a little wider, a little more volume, they have a higher weight range on it, which I think either one of them, they're very similar on their weight range. Actually, there is a Scorch large, so it goes a lot bigger. But yeah, let me go ahead and start up here at the bow and just kind of work my way back. All right, so looking over the bows right here, let me kind of show you what's going on here. You can look at the philosophy that Verus went with. They went with a tapered in type bow, so from about here to here, it tapers in, and their width is here. So that's actually not that bad, because when you come out, a lot of your boat will hit right here if you have proper technique, and it's going to pull you up and over things, where the Scorch is wide from all the way from here all the way back. So that thing will hit and lift and take off with you a lot cleaner than that will, but that's got a very kind of more performance oriented coming in and out, which kind of reminds me of a boat like the RMX, which I will do a comparison to the RMX, because the RMX kind of went with that tapered in bow and not super wide, and it's rounded under there, where this is flat and very planing, and that's rounded off. Even though from the outside you kind of think these look a lot alike, they paddle very differently. From someone that kind of knows kayaks, they paddle drastically differently, really. And going on back, you know, they both have the handles here, and you could see what Pyranha did. They went with the high peak right here, and that peak helped shed water off cleanly. Verus went with a more rounded top peak, so there's not a actual like V type like peak up in the top right here, but it is spooned up. The biggest thing is how that taper goes there, where that wide flat area goes there. So this is where it's fairly different too. You look at Pyranha, what they did, they rounded theirs off, and it's got a taper going in, where this one's very flat. Starting about right here, it's very flat going all back. Two different totally styles on the way their edging is, and the stability works when you do that too. Cockpit's about the same. Both of them have extra large cockpits on them. What Verus did, they have a very high lifted cockpit. That cockpit's very low, and the combing is a little smaller, and it's textured up under it. Verus's is not textured, but it's a very wide combing, so skirts fit on both of them fairly easy. The Verus outfitting is simple, effective, and works really well. Everything on it just kind of worked. You know, one thing I'd like to see, I mentioned, was the up and down adjustment there, but the way the back band kind of captures there, the thigh braces, the bulkhead, step out pillar, all of it works really well. Pyranha's works well too. You just have to tinker around with it like I did, and you can kind of see kind of the same philosophy right there, between right there, and then that goes into ratchets, and it's got adjustable thigh hooks, so you're able to customize where your thighs hit a little better than the Verus. You're kind of just stuck with wherever the thigh brace hits. But the seat is definitely easily adjustable in the Verus over that. But honestly, both of them, I think the outfitting is great on both of them. I would like to see what Pyranha did here. I would like to see Verus do something like that because their rims are turned down. So maybe they could like put a drainage hole here and two up there in the front. If it was me, I would add a little drainage hole here just for like that quick drainage on your shoulder. You know, that's how you make a wall holder right there. Look at the depth in that. That's probably 3 inches of depth in that center. That's around about a 1/2 inch. That will help hold the wall in the event of a swim, because that's when you're putting in walls like that. That's kind of what you're thinking about. You're not thinking about just the way it looks. You want to think about it going down like a class 5 wrap and the wall's not coming out, then your kayak getting folded somewhere. Big grab handles here. I like how Verus did that big cutout. I like that. Waka does something similar to that. I really like how that's kind of open. Makes it easy to kind of get your hands in there and carry it. Piranhas could be a little bigger. They did open it up there for drainage. Their handles are very similar. They thousands of pounds of braking strength. Back here, you know, once again, you see that cut out here. You see that cut out here. But one thing that doesn't look the same, look at that taper that goes down right here in the Scorch compared to this. Doesn't have a sharp taper. This one comes flatter out and it's a lot wider, and a different philosophy when it comes to the stern. One thing you're going to notice is the stern rocker is about 2 to 3 inches higher on the Scorch over that. This actually has a type of tapered down stern rocker. And I don't know if you can see it in the camera. It's kind of hard to kind of make out in the camera, but there's a stern rocker that kicks up really high here where this comes down and flattens out. And then this comes up. This thing never stern taps. What they've done here, it comes down to a nice thin point, and I really like the way that stern comes off of things. And it gets back on that rocker and gets even cleaner coming out of things because the rails run back. So yeah, there's the deck and kind of outfitting walkthrough. Let me go ahead and roll them over and do the hull comparison, because once again, you're going to see a drastic difference in the hulls. So let's do that now. Okay, got them rolled over here. Let's go ahead and start again back here in the bow and just kind of work our way up. Love the wave deflectors on the Scorch. You know, it's a wave deflectors on the edges that helps her digging in and making turns up there, because they are flat. They're not rounded like this one. So that one would be more edging, like sporty edge from up there. This would be like grabbing those rails and pulling in. Big, huge flat area here, and then it flattens out all the way up and then stays kind of flat, but has more like a progressive rocker to it, where this one, there's no rails up here. The rails don't start to back here. So this is rounded off, which gives it that little more kind of looseness in that bow to move around up there. And it's going to kind of separate a little better coming out. It might dive in, but it separates out instead of popping and going up. And this is rounded off all the way up to about right here where the rocker starts, and then it kind of like gets extremely flat going all the way out. When you look at the actual planing surfaces on the Flux compared to the Scorch, you've got a planing surface from here all the way to here. And even though this is a shorter boat, there's more kayak in the water than a 8'10" kayak. And the reason is that progressive rocker that's on the Scorch, where that's more like a kick, very flat, and then kick down. Where you look at the Scorch, it does this. Kind of rounds and then flattens out, and then tapers off slowly. Definitely can see the difference in the rocker. I'm standing over them here and I can see the difference in the rocker, because this actually dips in and kind of comes up a little bit, where that comes flat down and comes out. Both of them run their edges all the way out, but look at Piranha's edge compared to their edge. Remember, I was telling you guys there's going to be a drastic difference between these boats. This edge, and this is a kind of a very worn Scorch, this edge is like a bi-level, so it's here and it flattens out here, and then it drops and has maybe a 20-degree dip right there, and then goes out and flattens out and then kind of drops again. Where this one rounds off, hits the edge, comes up, and then rounds and then gets flat again. Where you look at this, it comes out, stays tapered all the way around, which is more similar to an RMX in my opinion, this edge, than the Scorch. So yeah, let me just kind of do another quick walk around and kind of show you guys the boats side by side. You can see the width back there in that tail. So that's very narrowed and tapered back, where that has that width drawn all the way back. And once again, these boats will paddle very different, because everybody has a different paddling style. Some might love the Scorch, some might love the Flux. The good thing about being a kayaker in today's time is there's no shortage of good quality boats. They're all so good out there. It's kind of a race to see who can make that kind of one boat does it all. And the Scorch is very close for me. The Verus Flux they've done an amazing job on this boat. I think it's going to sell very well for Verus. It's by far one of their best kayaks they've ever made. You guys leave in the comments below which one of these boats you would choose, or like if you're interested in a boat and you got any question on these, leave a question below, because I paddled both of them. I know how they both paddle, and I'll do my best to kind of answer for you guys. And I will have an on-water review coming soon on that. And I've already beat the Scorch to death, and it's still one of my favorite boats of all time. So yeah, that's all I got today, everybody, for the Verus Flux versus the Piranha Scorch. See you guys in the next video. RMX versus the Flux. Let's do that.